Hello. What do you pull for Stephen Lloyd? Depends. Both of my accounts currently have goals, so. Am I the only one who doesn't like AMS English VA? Nah, I said the same thing in my stream yesterday. It's not that I don't like her. I don't know. It wasn't the best fit, but like it's kind of a nitpick anyways. I'm good. Black screen. Unfortunately, no white text. I'm going on my Anoxa account quickly. Free Sparkle tomorrow. Let's act surprise. Oh yeah, tomorrow's a live stream. I forgot. Nice, nice, nice. And we got beta in a few days. True, true, Uni. If Dawei won't show up tomorrow, I think HSR is done. HSR is fine, bro. Hello, Sanders. Apparently, Ameth is the new bestseller for Kuro surpassing Cart. I still don't. Even if that is true, I still don't think she's as popular as Cart. I think people are pulling because of the spending event. But that doesn't even sound true. I don't know. Holy, what a basic attack from RMC. Yeah, I guess like half the reruns are still up in the air, Uni. The only ones that are genuinely confirmed are... Oh damn, I forgot. I literally posted it too. Ceridra? And was it Heislands? And maybe Rappa. Yeah, you need that too. Oh, Serene Evernight. Yeah, that's what it was. I'm doing good. I'm hoping for Heislands and Black Swan. Do you already have Kafka? Or are you just using the selector on Kafka? Actually, no. You started playing the game after Kafka came now? Or not? Using selector on Kafka? Ah, I see. Do you see the nerf to Elation damage? Yeah, I saw it. It's hard to believe, but given the new Sparksy boss design, there will be power creep, but I don't think it'll be as egregious as the previous patches. I can't believe I'm saying this. But it does kind of make sense because, I mean, they're nerfing Elation damage. And then they're also releasing, like, shill bot. They're going in, like, the Genshin route, I think is the way I'd like to say it. Where it's more like, you have one team that can do incredibly well against certain enemies, and the rest of the teams don't. And there's less power creep in turn for that. I don't know, I could be wrong, though. That's not how it works, deserve more. Like, you need to understand, if La Mancha is Elation, that isn't most characters are Elation in 4.0 to 4.2. That's all characters. Yeah, Uni said it as well. So there's clearly one or two characters that aren't Elation. La Mancha is obviously going to be one. Anon Leaks already said Nihilux isn't even pre 4.3. Dude, like, why'd they drip her so early? I don't know. That's what Anon said. Obtain victory in combat with support characters one time. Does Sunday not count as a support character? What? How the fuck does this shit work, man? Like, are we serious? Oh, that's what it means? Anon must be wrong? Yeah, sure, bro. Sure. The guy with A 100% track record for the last year is about to be wrong. GG's, bro. I mean, yeah, Uni, but if we're being realistic, I'm guessing Anon implied that she's gonna be much later on. Like, if there's anyone who's gonna be in 4.1, like, would it be Nihilux or Blade? I think Blade is much more likely than Nihilux. And by the way, Anon already said, Uni, he already leaked that he believes there's only one character on 4.1, and then he made a leak after saying that he believes it's La Mancha. So if he believes there's only one character on 4.1 and Nihilux isn't on 4.3, then she needs to be later. You know what I'm saying? At least for what he knows. He could be wrong, I guess, but... Sakura said there's two characters, I'm on his side. Sakura lost last time they had a leak debate. But I respect the cope. I respect the cope. This reminds me of the Iris versus Seal leaks PvP going on for WUWA. Yeah, but there isn't anywhere near as much as bad beef on the HSR side of things as the WUWA one. Like, the WUWA one, bro, they're fucking aggressive to each other. Can I please get another Chimera, bro? Thank you. Okay. Finally. I got something to work with. Yeah, I know, Uni. Has Step Leaker leaked anything since the 3.x roadmap? I don't think so. Maybe a few things after, but Guy has been inactive since pretty much since then. We'll see the results of it pretty soon. I'm not gonna lie, Uni. I am low-key probably siding with Seal a little bit. Just because I remember when Step first did that roadmap thing, like, all of the leakers in the Fractured Shores Chord were like, oh, this shit's old. It's completely inaccurate at this point. Like, nothing is related at all. But every single character so far has had some relation, right? Like, some connection to the roadmap step leaks did. So I'm low-key gonna side with Seal on this one. I don't play ZZZ. Why would I check their leaks? I need your advice. I got S1 AMS. Should I go to S3? Already have the Toon Break team in Chisa. Yeah. I mean, her S1 and S2 are kind of mid. S3 is where it actually gets decent. Son. True, Uni. Nah, I thought that was something new, man. Is this event that long, or are you just playing for fun? No, I missed one of the things that gives Jades. You reckon they intend for the Elation teams to share supports? Yeah. My guess is, obviously, there will be an Elation MC upgrade later in the version. But, like, anything else is... It's like 50-50 whether or not they give Silverwolf an entire best-in-slot team. Considering Yai is no longer the main push, I would say for, like, Yai wanters, it's like a 99.99% chance her Elation best-in-slot team will stay with Sparksy Yaoguang. Silverwolf SP is the only one that's up in the air because she got changed to a main push. Yes, I saw the Elation getting nerfed. It makes sense. The way you guys need to understand it, and this is why I said the Elation team would become way stronger recently, when they get their third Elation character, Sparksy is a sub DPS, right? Obviously, she'd do less damage as a sub DPS. However, it's not like it'd be an astronomical difference, right? So, if you then have a main DPS, a sub DPS, a support, and a sustain, all having damaging Elation and like skills, they all have it, every single time an Aha Instant goes off. You now have 3 plus Elation characters, which makes Aha Instant faster. And then they also have their normal, like, actual turn attacks. It would have been insane power creep. So I'm assuming they're toning it down a little bit for the future mono Elation team. Yeah. Thanks. I don't know what Nihilux's kit will be. I just don't. There's nothing I can theorize, bro. Outside of the obvious, she has Nihility in her name. Thank you. They aren't toning it down to spare power creep, they're toning it down so pulling the full battleship becomes more essential. That doesn't make any sense in the slightest, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense. They're nerfing the Elation team and the main source of the Elation team's Elation damage to make people want to pull on the battleship more. That shit don't make sense in the slightest. I think they mean so they buff the main DPS more. Yeah, which makes Elation Battleship not as good as if they didn't nerf the Elation formula. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you buff the Elation formula, the main DPS still takes the same lead they already had over everybody else's damage contribution on the team. Nothing changes. Because guess what? The DPS also has an Elation skill on Aha Instant. Oh my god. Right? If a sub DPS loses 20% Elation damage, so will the main DPS. Oh my goodness. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't change anything in terms of the importance of characters. It just nerfs the team. Unless the main DPS increases the multiplier. Why would a main DPS... What? If they lower the Elation damage formula but buff the main damage dealer, that means the main damage dealer will be less reliant on the Elation damage? No, exactly, Uni, you're right. That's why it doesn't make any sense. The less Elation damage matters on the team, the less of a jump you're gonna get from getting the best in slot Elation units that buff Elation damage. That's kind of just, simple. So it doesn't make sense that it would increase the importance of the Elation battleship to decrease the Elation damage. It's like there's no other mechanic that's really similar to it for any normal team, but it's like saying, let's say they nerf Evernight, right? They nerf Evernight's vulnerability that she applies. I think it's like 30%, right? And they nerf that vulnerability down to like 25 or 20%, and then saying like, oh, this is because it's actually better. It makes you want the, like, no. Evernight is currently, if you don't include Cyrene for with Cassie, is only like a less than 20% upgrade for that team. You nerf that vulnerability, she's now at like 10 to 15%, right? Like, there's no gain from it. It just makes the character worse and the main DPS less reliant on them. But like, I'm not gonna lie, it is extreme cope for someone to do the mental gymnastics and think that a main DPS in Elation would have a multiplier increase for Elation damage. Like, this game has a history. Every single main DPS, targeted main DPS in this game, has no buffing in like their base kit or in their investments for Eidolons or Lycone. The closest is Cassie. It's like the smallest damage bonus, but it's for the entire team and not herself. And then her field territory, which is also for everybody and not just herself, right? Like, yeah, that would have to be like a first case in the history of the game where they make a character who's a DPS give themselves like some insane ass buff. Silverwolf's team is going to be 3 small characters on release. Are you sure? Yao Guang and MC aren't small. I forgot HSR wasn't Wuo where they buff multipliers. Well, I mean, sometimes you get it, but it's like high in characters' investment levels. Like Anoxa. A 30% just damage multiplier increase. But it's like, this is usually behind E6. You don't find buffs like these literally anywhere else. What is better investment, Cassie team Evernight or Cyrene? I mean, they're both mid. There's no point in getting a Cyrene for a main DPS Cassie without Evernight, because Evernight actually adds the, extra value here because of her being able to stack up Cyrene stacks faster than almost anyone else, and then at the same time giving the entire team a crit damage buff. So if you don't have Evernight with Cassie Cyrene, then Cyrene is like negligibly better than Tribby probably. And then if you have Evernight but no Cyrene, she is an upgrade, but it's once again minimal. And in fact, I believe if you really know how to play your RMC still ends up being better than Evernight. But what you can do, and what I've seen a few people do who don't have Cyrene, is they'll use RMC and then they'll buff Evernight and buff Cassie at the same time. And I think that's probably the best case scenario, but it's like, then you don't have EMC. So if you plan to go into an Elation team, you're going to have to move this RMC kind of. No Fortnite today? Nah. Did you know the last stream became the highest viewed stream? I mean, probably because of the title. It's not surprising. It's also one of my longest streams. I didn't expect it to go on for that long. I was tired as fuck, bro. Like, I was trying to stay up as much as I could. They really stretched it. What's up, Kumar? Sparkle to boost Silverwolf SP speed and give Sparksy SP. That's probably not going to be the team at all, though. Because you want 3 Elation characters to max out the buff. I mean, I guess you could do it with EMC, but it won't be as strong as with Yao Guang. Like, you guys need to understand, you cannot replace Yao Guang. Like, in these Elation teams, you can because they're getting shield currently, but genuinely, if you use Yao Guang and then use no team buffer to use buff Sparkle on Silverwolf, it's gonna feel terrible. It's gonna feel absolutely fucking terrible. Yao Guang's Elation buffs and the Aha instant on ult, plus her SP positivity, is too important. Am I biased or not for thinking 3.1 was peak? I said I thought it was good. Like, everybody has their own opinion. I said it was good. I gave it a 9 out of 10. That shit's high, okay? I don't give most stories 9 out of 10. My problem isn't with, like, the story itself on the patch, right? Like, no. My major complaint is that this is normal kind of for a main push. You know what I'm saying? It's normal for a main push, like, let's say Cart, to, you know, be there for maybe a few patches. My issue with this game story is outside of AMEF, right? I'm already getting worried because there was legit 0 Lene in that entire quest. There was a little bit of Mornai. Sigrika has only said 1 line so far, and we haven't interacted with her at all, and she's the next patch's limited banner character. Like, that's what I don't like about the game. They'll give the main push the treatment they should give all characters, and then everybody else gets shafted later on. But the actual, like, story itself on the 3.1 patch, I'd say majorly, like, probably the later half of, like, the 70% of the story is really, really good. Like, I really liked it. Yao Guang might be a bait pull. You people can't be real, bro. Like, oh, it makes me mad, bro. Why is my own chat part of, like, those people that are like, units in HSR get power crept after 2 patches and become useless? Like, why is my chat turning into this, bro? Like, fuck. But she isn't Sunday. Like, anyone with a brain knows Yao Guang isn't Sunday. Fuck. She's more like an Evernight. Because Evernight buffs Memo Sprite damage. Yao Guang buffs Elation damage. Her E1 is for buffing more only Elation damage. Like, what more do people want, man? Holy shit. Very clearly, it's just not anywhere near a Sunday situation. And EMC is like 99% chance at this point going to be a sustain. Because if EMC isn't a sustain, and we're not getting barely any Elation characters after 4.2, who the fuck is going to be the third Elation character to finally unlock Sparksy's main DPS full kit. Who, if EMC isn't a sustain? We'll be waiting until fucking 4.6, 4.7 until Sparksy main DPS can max out her kit. Like, that is so unrealistic, bro. They don't become useless, but they get power crept. Tribby already has more value than Cyrene. Like, I told people this. Like, you guys don't know what you're talking about, bro. Like, Tribby had absolutely nothing to do with specifically buffing Chrysos heirs, and she's soon going to have better value as an alternative for these Elation teams as compared to Cyrene. Is there anybody for the teams where Cyrene is a main buffer in, like Mono Rem, right? Evernight, Anoxa, Myday? Is there anybody that can compete with Cyrene in terms of buffing those DPSs? No. And we're about to be 2 patches later. Clearly, there's no Cyrene power creep. It's not rage bait though, Uni. Like, I know my chat is dead serious. They have this Duber mentality that characters won't last 2 patches. It's like, what game are you playing? I know this game has bad power creep, but it's not that bad. Tribby is never going to be best in slot. Who cares? She has more value as a general support as compared to everybody else released in Ampho. Who cares? There's a reason people still use the free E1 May they get from Golden tokens. I use it on both of my accounts. And an E1 Tribby is even better than that. Like, you guys can only see, oh, best in slot for one team, or second best alternative for almost all the teams in the game. I'm gonna take the best in slot in one team. Like, this shit is genuinely how most of you guys see character value in this game. It's depressing. What would be the replacement in a Cassie Tribby Hyacine team? Evernight? If you don't want to use RMC. Yes, I remember. I literally crashed out around the Wua Annie drama because all these idiotic Wua CCs who quit HSR were saying Ruan Mei was power crept and useless and basically had no uses. And it's like, I still use her to this day, almost a year later, bro, on both of my accounts. I mean, here's the thing. Best in slot can be important, right? I'm not saying it can't. Like, for example, someone was getting mad at me for talking about, you know, full Elation best in slot team. And they're like, oh, best in slot brain rot. But it's like, it depends, right? There's nuance. If you are a Phanon, your best in slot with Cyrene isn't that much of a jump as compared to the alternative option, right? So it's like, who cares? However, if you're an Anoxa, it's a completely different scenario. This entire best in slot, so-called brain rot, actually applies to Anoxa and Cyrene, because he gets vastly stronger with Cyrene, right? So you need nuance. It depends on the character. That's kind of how it goes. But people like to either take it to extremes. Either they believe anybody ever stressing the importance of a best in slot team is like, you know, brain rotted with best in slot. And there's another side that thinks they need best in slot for like every character in the game, and general value is useless. That's usually what happens. People just take it to extremes. Like, this is what happened when I made my recent Elation video. What I saw a comment while trying to scroll through the comments that were like, "Oh, it's the best in slot brain rot," because I was talking about, Silverwolf SP's future best in slot team and like Elation team, and it's like, Elation team at the minimum is probably gonna want like 3 Elation characters on their team to max out AHA instant speed. So yes, best in slot does matter. Like, against a new shield path, and it's the first path where like they have a unique mechanic for just peeing part of the path. I mean, that sounds, like you might want to get the best in slots to play that shit optimally. You know what I'm saying? Keep in mind, my Anoxa, if I were to give him like my E1 Triby Sunday team, yes, he's overly invested in, but his Eidolons are mid, right? If I give him all my best supports on this account, he's at least getting a 0 cycle. Or at least maybe getting like an early 1 cycle, right? And that is without Cyrene in his strongest support. So you can work around and use alternatives. But if I had Cyrene, hell, this guy could be fucking E1 and I'd get the 0 cycle off. You know what I'm saying? That's basically how Yao Guang is probably going to be. Yao Guang is such an insane buff and has such a strong E1 for the Elation team that even though other teammates can work so long as you put in some decent investment, she is going to be astronomically easier and better to use. I mean, EMC is one Elation, and they're probably not going to do another EMC for like until the next version. So you can get away with just having 2 Elation units to max out AHA's speed, but having mono Elation, I imagine, makes it easier for AHA instance to go faster, right? Because like, for example, right now when we only have 2 Elation units, people are dead ass running Sparksy on speed boots sometimes for like 0 cycle clears, so they can fit in an extra AHA instant in the 0 cycle, right? Like, people are dead ass doing that. So having more Elation characters probably puts less stress on the amount of total speed you need, which would be nice, right? It means you have to worry less about the speed tuning of AHA. Speed Sparksy is probably going to be better for her sub DPS team anyways, because her damage is probably going to fall off a cliff as a sub DPS. My point is, we know nothing about Silverwolf's kit. Nobody knew what Remembrance was gonna become. All about HP and killing your summon too. I mean, that's just the HP scaling team. That's not Ola Remembrance. Like, Aglaea's kind of right there. She isn't an HP scaler, right? Like, one of these DPSs obviously isn't gonna have the same gimmick as the other between Yai and Sylvie. Also, we had leaks that Cassie was an HP scaler like 1 or 2 patches before she came out. Because back then, the leakers weren't fully reliant on Anon leaks, and they could actually do some shit themselves. So we had info on Cassie like way before she came out that she was an HP scaler. Yeah, you can skip these upcoming Elation characters if you want to. I've talked about it before. given Hoyo and how they usually do reruns, they will rerun both Sparksy and Yao Guang 3 patches after 4.0 in 4.3. And it lines up perfectly with after Yai and Sylvie release on the Annie, right? Like, you can do this if you're cautious, but like, me personally, I don't care, bro. I'm not waiting 4 months and a half. I'm sorry. I'm not waiting fucking 4 months because I'm going to live in fear that one of these DPSs might not have them as a best in slot. Like, I'm confident. Let me make an Elation sub DPS, an Elation AoE support. It's leaked we're going to get almost no Elation characters after the Annie, and the Annie characters are old DPSs. But I'm going to doom the fact that we are going to get probably 3 or 4 more Elation characters, completely contradicting everything we know so far, because this game is evil Hoyo and they're trying to power creep all the units I pulled. Like, people don't think about this shit, man. Yeah, they'll be best in slot for one of the two. To be honest, they could just be best in slot for both. That could just be how it goes. I don't know, Cerberus. It's just a rumor. It's whatever. There's no guarantee about it. It would be cool, but I'm sorry. I doubt Himeko SP is going to use standard Himeko as a best in slot on her team. So, maybe for Silverwolf? I still doubt it though. Himeko is obviously going to be destruction. There's nothing else that makes sense. Every single second main push has been destruction. I'm pulling for Sparksy on my Cassie account. You're right, yeah. It's just the tradition in this game. Second main push is always going to be destruction at this point. Which makes sense considering literally the main narrative of the story is going against, destruction. It's like the entire thing we've been doing for a while now. Didn't you say you would get Phanon on your Cassie account? I said I'd go for E2 Phanon if I lose my 50-50s. If I get incredibly unlucky and I lose my 50-50s, then I'll probably just wait for a Faye rerun. But I'm still going to try and win my 50-50s for Yao Guang and Sparksy. Because if I lose my 50-50s and have bad luck, completely reinvesting into a new Elation team that isn't even stronger than my Fae, when I have a best in slot team ready for him, on top of that, E2 is only 2 more cost. It's like, there obviously one is way better fucking value, but I'd like to invest in the Elation team just because it's something new. I don't I don't know, man. I don't know how well Tribby will be as compared to Yao Guang for an Annie character. The Annie character's kit doesn't exist. We're not even at 4.1 beta yet. With how much Woo rewards horizontal investment, the new endgame, a generalist like Lene will always be valuable even if the ceiling of your teams don't go up. Yeah. What was the most annoying HSR beta for you? Phanon. Phanon's beta was easily the most annoying, and the only one I made an entire video towards me dedicating genuine hatred for their mains Reddit, because when I actually tried to use logic and tell these people why Phanon without any best in slot teammates, you know, obviously wouldn't be stronger than the main push Annie unit with her best in slot teammates, people just said, "Oh, this game hates males. They hate males. I want Phanon to be the strongest character in the game because they hate males. Males finally deserve the spotlight." Like that's literally the bullshit I had to deal with the entirety of the time in my comments. Oh, this game gives favorable treatment towards the woman and there's never a male who's meta or winning, so I don't give a shit if they completely break the power scaling of this game so long as it's for my favorite character. Like, Arlie, you're hypocritical as fuck, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people are such insane hypocrites. It's insane to me. They wanted Phanon to consume no AV on his ult turns. Okay? Understand this. 0 AV across all 7 of his ult turns and keep the E2 the same. They're fucking psychotic, bro. It would have been better to balance using actual speed rather than base. Sure, you can make that argument. But literally, like the suggestions people were making up for making Phanon to be stronger in his beta, when keep in mind, he was already basically the best low cost clearer next to Archer against ult endgame because of how fucking busted his E2 is. And these people were still begging for more, bro. They're like, oh, I want him to consume less AV. I want him to be significantly, by the way, not just slightly, significantly stronger than Cassie, despite the fact this guy's got none of his best in slot teammates yet, has way better Eidolons, has this and that. It's like, bro, are we serious? Like, they genuinely did not care about the scaling of this game. They just wanted to completely break it. What is low cost? Low cost is like under 5. Like 4, to be honest. But back then, low cost was literally like you could use an E0 0 Phanon with Ting Yun Branya and RMC and it would zero cycle. That's what Phanon was doing on his launch patch. And even today, by the way, against the 4.0 Sparksy boss, Phanon has another 3 cost 0 cycle, which is just E2S0 with the same team I just mentioned, right? He's been using this E2S0 free to play team to 0 cycle endgame content since his fucking conception. No, it's like, keep in mind, Sparksy is like a heavily shilled boss, right? The new Sparksy boss, it is heavily shilled. No, Evernight mains was also annoying, but because Evernight wasn't anywhere near as popular or had a fan base that just instantly blamed and called people misogynistic or whatever the fuck, right? Evernight mains were just dense and stupid. Like, I literally remember going to their Reddit, showing them all these low cost clears, showing the strength of her, and they're like, still weak. You know, it's still weak, trash. You know, she can for sure use some. Oh, she needs Hyacine Lycone. She needs Hyacine Lycone. So if you don't have Hyacine Lycone, then she's like worse than my day, bro. Right? Like the people in Evernight mains. Okay, so the Phanon mains, even though they were stupid, they were also incredibly dense, right? But Evernight mains were genuinely just stupid. That's how it was. 99. They were just stupid. They didn't want to like look into anything at all. How was the Ceredra one? Ceredra also got a lot of Doom posting from me, by the way. If you want to consider it Doom posting, my shit still holds true though. I didn't expect Ceredra to get increased value from Cyrene. So Ceredra ended up getting indirectly, or actually no, directly buffed by Cyrene. And then people started coming up to me being like, oh, look how wrong you were. But here's the thing. The main complaint I always had with Ceredra was that she isn't strong enough of a buff in her niche teams. And outside of these niche teams, because she's specifically a skill buffer who gives double skills, like this shit is so incredibly niche, right? Like it's crazy niche. So I was like, I don't see this character at all being able to use her buffs as well for future characters when we go into a new version, right? How did people cope about this? They started coming up with some bullshit that Ceredra would get buffed when Elation came out, and that she'd be best in slot for a few Elation DPSs. I warned people. They are not gonna do this, okay? They aren't. People didn't want to listen to me, and now people are like genuinely sad that they believed in fucking Ceredra buffs once we got into V4 with Elation, right? So like, if you were to pair Ceredra with, like, let's say Sparksy, it is garbage. There's literally zero synergy. She can't even duplicate Sparksy's skill. It's that bad. And it's also like people were like, oh, you know, I'm using E0 Phanon with Ceredra, and Ceredra's super good and made him way better. It's like, sure, but Phanon, of all characters, should be prioritizing his E2 before ever you prioritize getting Ceredra. This is what I stress so hard in some of my Phanon videos and Ceredra videos. It's not that she isn't best in slot for him. It's that she isn't the first thing you think of when you go to pick him up. His E2 is the highest value. I want to give you guys an example. The creator who I'm talking about here, right? The one that did the E2S0 Phanon 0 cycle against the new Sparksy boss. 3 cost, right? Someone in their comments asked if it was possible with E0S1 Fae and E1 Seri, right? So this is 1 more cost than the 3 cost. And the creator said no. In fact, I've tried to do it at 5 cost with E0 Phanon, and I still couldn't do it, right? So an E2 S0 Phanon can probably get done with content and you use an E0 Feign on, E0 Feign needs double the investment to compete with an E2 S0 Feign. That is how astronomical the gap is, even if you pick up Saridra, even if you have her E1. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's fine to pull for a character if you just like them. Like, obviously, that's fine. It's people who try to be dense and, like, mask the real value of a character to make themselves feel better about pulling them. Like, it's fine to admit a character you like is mid, okay? I suffer from this, some of the worst, from my S6QU1 on my Woowa account. I constantly slander the guy, okay? He was not worth in the slightest getting S6, right? Most people can agree with that. But I don't try to hide his value, right? Like, I slander him all the time because I'm, like, fully aware, you know? This isn't the most meta character in the slightest. For Yao Guang, do you suggest E1? Yeah. I mean, that's because these games are targeted towards casual players, Cerberus. It's like, I understand it. Even if I myself may go out of my way to maybe learn how to play my characters and teams better, I'm not going to hold everyone to the same standard as I do myself. Strictly because these games purposefully market themselves to others who are lazy, they want to not play the game as much, they don't want to put in the time to, like, fully understand things. They just like the characters. They just like the story. And they want to use the characters and see their animations whenever they're fighting enemies. Like, people got to realize that too. It's like it goes both ways. The amount of people who actually care about meta in this game is probably like 10 or 15% total. And even then, there's like levels to how much people care about the meta between that percentage. I don't have pulls on my account, dude. I pulled Lene and Mornai in 3.0. Do you guys think I'm some fucking rich Saudi Arabian prince or some shit? I can't get back to back to back banners. You're rich, Maru? Nah. I think the general issue when it comes to HSR is people thinking you need to zero cycle and scaling characters' ability to clear endgame off of zero cycles. Like, this is just something that I think will never change. Is zero cycles are nice to look at for sure, for like the ceiling of a character strength. But like, for example, we are about to be in 4.0, as mentioned earlier, a 3 cost E2S0 Phanon with all free to play teammates in Branya can still zero cycle the endgame content. This is like more than half a year later, and people are still gonna say Phanon is mid. I wouldn't pull Phanon for clearing endgame. You know, this game characters become power crept after a few patches. Like, that's a zero cycle, by the way, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, in this game, when it comes to MOC, you can power through one side with a new character, get this so-called zero cycle, and you now have double the amount of time on your other team to clear. A lot of people forget this. I don't expect people to get 3 cost 0 cycles, but the point is, like, if you put in maybe 1 or 2 more costs, like, you're getting it without anywhere near as much optimization as the other player. Where did that come from, the 0 cycle obsession? Because there's nothing else to do in HSR. I mean, once the story's done, what do you got left? And then the sweat players started, you know, estimating the strength of characters off of 0 cycles and at what cost they could do it at. Because the thing is, a lot of newly released characters in HSR could do 1 cost 0 cycles. Like, it is pretty normal. This applied to, I think, almost every 3.x character, except maybe Eggy, because Eggy without Sunday at the time was like a little scuffed. Like, Archer could do 1 cost 0. Technically, if you consider Archer free and buff Sparkle free, because she probably will be, Archer can still do 1 cost 0 cycles. Phanon could do 1 cost 0 cycles. Anoxa could. Cassie could. I don't know if My Day could. I don't know about that one. But Herda and Aglaya could. Or at least Herda could. Shit like that. The same applies for, like, almost all of the 2.x characters as well. Acheron 0 cycle in 2024. I actually saw an Acheron 0 cycle video recently. And the cost wasn't even, like, I think absurdly high. It wasn't too bad. Acheron is nearing on 2 years old at this point. Nearing. Not is, but... Okay, so there is an E0S1 Acheron, 0 cycling Cocolia. Keep in mind, AoE DPS against 2 targets, and it has no Eidolons, which is decently impressive. They used Robin, Cypher, and Silverwolf. No action. Oh wait, no. Robin. I'm stupid. So they're using a Robin with Maze Cone. A Cypher with her cone, and then a Silverwolf with Jiaoqi's cone. Nice, Phoenix. If Archer was free, then I'd consider him 0 cost. I mean, I think it's fine to consider Archer 0 cost if the person's talking about their own account. And then it depends on whether or not they have E1 on Archer or not as well. Like, I kind of just do the same with my Mei on my accounts. Like, I obviously didn't spend any money for E1 Mei. So, I didn't spend any money for Don Hung either. I didn't spend any money for E0S1 Archer. I'm not going to spend any money for buff Sparkle. Do you think Dr. Ratio will ever get a buff? No. That makes my 8-cost Acheron team look bad. Cleared in 4 cycles. It's a clear. If someone really wants to put in the effort to zero cycle, you can. Yeah, but 99% of the people don't want to do the optimization or like think at all. Like this is very common, very often. Like people will say, "Oh, the game is incredibly easy, too straightforward. There's no skill gap in HSR at all." But then ask them about like speed tuning, relic investment, optimal teammates, optimal play. They won't give you an answer. They'll just probably say some shit like, "Oh, you're rage baiting. This game doesn't take any skill. I don't even need to answer you," or some shit like that. Like people genuinely think HSR takes no thinking and skill, and it's like they say, "Oh, it's just pressing two buttons." Show them an iDay gaming video, please. Like show the average person an iDay gaming video, and they'll finally come to the realization of how much like thought goes into zero cycling with characters and clearing way better than usual. It's like 10 times more as compared to like games that are mechanical. Because in mechanical games, you learn the rotation and you can spam that rotation for the rest of your life. And that rotation takes at max probably like 1 day to learn. He loses to auto in basically everything, Strawberry. It's not just Super Break. He's also put Blade on auto and then lost to the auto. I feel like the cost system gets redefined anytime something is free. In my opinion, I like to differentiate cost and limited, right? So you can say that like an E0S1 Archer plus Dawnhong PT is 3 limited, but cost implies it costed the player something, right? It took something from you in exchange for the character. If you didn't cost me anything, you just fucking appeared on my shit and you're free, I'm not going to include you in cost. I'm sorry. Me personally, I'm not doing it. I'm not including my Don Hung PT. I'm not including my other characters that I got for free because they were free. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to make like limited and say like, oh, it's 3 limited or your Don Hung PT is a limited, I'm not gonna argue against that. Like, yeah, like if I had to pull Archer after he was free, yeah, that's also a limited and like a cost. That's a good way to differentiate it. Yeah, I think it's a pretty solid way to do it. Cause like, don't get me wrong, Anon. I used to also get frustrated, especially when Archer came out. Right, when Archer first came out, and people were doing like the zero cost zero cycle thing, I was like, are we serious? Right, or like zero limited in their thing, and then on top of this, like 90% of these Archer zero cycles, by the way, had Cassie global passive. I think this is another rant I want to go into someday, but like the amount of zero cyclers who will use Cassie global passive and then not include her in the limited cost, it annoys me, bro. Like you needed that. You needed it. Stop baiting me. I'm not saying it's impossible to, not clear without casting global passive. Like 99% of the time, these people will put a disclaimer in the comments. You don't need casting global passive if you get luckier with the relic quality having like HP rolls on the substats. And it's true. But for this specific run, you better fucking count it, okay? Morals? Uh, Archer, Sparkle, RMC, Donhung PET being considered zero cost for most people is wild. Yeah, that's why I made my recent video. My recent video of like uh HSR being free to play friendly currently, I think holds strong, bro. It's insane. You can probably make a new okay, you can't get Archer free anymore, right? But I do still think you can get Don Hung PT. So as a new player, you can either pick up Sparksy and go into the Elation team or pick up Archer. I'd probably choose Archer here and then get a DPS later on. You can get like 400-500 pulls, get one Archer, run it with Sparkle, RMC, Don Hung. That's one team done, right? One cost you put into that team. And now you can focus everything on the other team. And this is assuming you're completely new, right? Completely new. You didn't get the free Archer around the Annie up till 3.6. Or sorry, after the Annie. So, like, that's good, bro. Because keep in mind, AA in this game doesn't give shit. Well, it does, but it doesn't give any premium currency, right? The only premium currency in AA in this game is fucking self-modeling resin and this key. This is the only thing you can say is like specific to this endgame mode, right? So you don't even need to stress it. The only modes you need to stress are these two, which are old two teams. Oh yeah, we're probably gonna get 120 pulls on 4.0. It's like normal. I checked bookkeeping, and every single new planet has been like 120 to 125 pulls. And then you also have the Annie 2 patches later as well, which is also usually 120 pulls. Plus golden token. We getting 140 this time? W cope. Sorry, I'm not. There's no way I can believe that, bro. They're already giving buff Sparkle. I doubt they'd increase the pull count. What are your Noxa accounts pulling plans? Saridra rerun. I'm gonna try and get E1. Originally, I didn't know what to do on this Anoxa account because I wanted both Serene, Cyrene, and Buff Sparkle. So if Buff Sparkle re-ran and wasn't free, I would have been cutting it close and would have had to probably skip one of them. But because Buff Sparkle's free, and there's probably no Cyrene until at least 4.1 or 4.2, I can just try for E1 Seri. If I lose the 50-50 for the E1, I then get a guaranteed Cyrene. So no matter what, I win. Because Buff Sparkle's free. Just slap her on my Archer team. Why would I ever get Saridra's Light Cone over her E1? Are you crazy? I'm just going to run a DDD on her. Is Saridra worth getting if you have an Noxa and Cyrene? I'd say yes. Just a quick E0 pickup. Don't even need to invest any further if you don't want to. It's good enough for sure. Makes an Noxa very strong. The reason Saridra gain so much value with Cyrene is one, obviously, Cyrene buffs Saridra more, so you get double skills faster. But and I believe you also increase the crit damage buff. But because Cyrene's buff is locked right to that one turn when she action advances Anoxa, getting a double skill off on that turn vastly increases Saridra value, right? So that's why Saridra got such a buff in Anoxa. Like, Anoxa got a double buff, kinda. He got a double buff. He did get massively buff from Cyrene, And then this buff from Cyrene also buffed Ceredra further, which is why this team combo is so strong for him as compared to anything else. Like, all of Anoxa's cheapest zero cycles are 3 cost with Seri, Cyrene, and RMC. Every single one. And it's not even close. I feel like he benefited the most from Cyrene. I think the same. I for sure think the same. Oh, really, Anon? Damn. If only we had gotten free SK and Wu instead of the spending event. I mean, there's still a little hope. You got the Annie upcoming, and then you got the collab after. I think they'll probably put at least one free limited 5-star in either of these patches. Rebecca is probably the most likely to be free. If they don't give anyone free, I mean, I guess it is what it is. Free Becca, free Becca. Rebecca Friel to cope. I mean, it's the easiest way for them to make someone free and get good grace from the player base. Plus, they can make Rebecca, like, you know, maybe Lucy really wants Rebecca for the team. So it's like, now you also want to grab Lucy, right? Like, they can make themselves benefit from it. I don't care. Just make a free character. Make it easier. If they don't even do this, then it's like, I don't think anyone's going to expect free characters from the game ever. It's not even going to be a thing anymore. People are just going to completely lose hope. Mr. Capybara, I got Ameth weapon at 7 pity. Lost her 50-50, did story TOA, and got Ameth at 13 pity. You pulled the weapon before the character? I mean, I'm happy for you, but like, what was the thought process? What if you went to soft pity and then lost? I don't care about saying. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I think everybody's aware of how he is. There's no point. I got throw weapon and 5 pulls. Nice. I can see them giving a 5-star selector with 1.x units or a free male character. The thing is, I mean, I'd take it if 1.x units meant SK. But I'd still prefer a free Rebecca because that's like a 3.x character. Assuming, okay, assuming they treat the collab characters like HSR did, where like they actually are part of the meta, they're strong, and they have like a team they can work in, right? If they treat the collab characters as like trophies that are incredibly fucking mid, then I don't know so much. But I have confidence they wouldn't do that, so I'd still probably prefer a free Rebecca or something. I mean, best case scenario is both, but maybe that's too much. I was gonna raid you, but you don't have the feature turned on. GG. YouTube has a rating feature? What? I appreciate that, Coda, though. Thanks for thinking about it, at least. Hope you had a good stream. I don't know anything about YouTube streaming. To be honest, I just started streaming to talk with my community. I have zero clue how to monetize a live stream, and I never bothered looking into it. I have zero clue how to do things with stream settings at all. If you had to choose what's better, free SK or free Rebecca, I mean, I'd benefit equally from either or, to be honest. But for the average person with an S0 SK, SK would be mid. Because that only gets you to S1. Wholesome Gabby. Thanks, Skoda. What's the speculation about collab being 3.3 or 3.4? 3.4. 3.4 should be the collab. 3.3 should be Annie. Chill, guys, chill. I get passionate about these gacha talks, okay? What's the best 6-star from the selector they gave on Enfield? Zero clue. I think it's Ardelia, but like they give you her for free, so it doesn't matter. I've heard people are picking up Pog. It's that one dude, Pog. Other people were saying, I want to get Ember because she's wife. Shit like that. Sorry to tell you, man, but I hate all your takes. W rage bait. Ugh, how can you say that, Coda? Fuck. Might have to ban, man. Might have to ban. Thinking about it. How could you not agree with me on everything I say? GG. There's steam coming out from his ears. I just want this live stream to hit, bro. Let this live stream hit. Announce my free buff sparkle, you know, set it in stone. And this Anoxa account's eating. It's eating, okay? Oh, just thinking about it. Oh, I pick up an E1 Ceredra with an E6 Anoxa this Sunday. And then my E1 S1 Archer runs it with buff sparkle and E1. Oh, man. Oh my goodness. It's beautiful. It's just so beautiful. I think the funniest part about all this is free buff sparkle is probably going to make my free-to-play account stronger than my Cassie account, which I spent money on. Which low-key is like kind of sad. This is literally the epitome of what optimal pull investment does, and you realize how much money you're fucking throwing in the trash by not doing optimal pull investment. I mean, technically, I could just grab an E2 Fae, and then my Cassie account would probably go back to being stronger, but hey, this is a free-to-play account, bro. That's what happens when you're lucky. I mean, I would have been able to afford all of this, even if I... Okay, maybe not E6 and Oxa, right? Maybe not E6 and Oxa, that for sure. But even if I didn't get lucky, I'd probably be at like an E2, E3 Inoxa. I don't know. Worst case scenario. And I'd still have all these pulls for these other characters. Your Inoxa's E4? No, he used to be E4 Irokumana. I got this Inoxa E6 on his rerun during 3.6. You ever swipe in a gacha? Yes. Well, it depends what you consider swipe. If we're talking like monthly passes and shit, I do that really commonly. Except for this account. This is my only free-to-play account. But in terms of like buying direct currency, I've only done it. No, I've done it 3 times now. So I did it once for E2 Phanon on my old main account, which at this point has a different owner because I don't even fucking log into it. The second time was for Evernight on my Cassie account and getting her E2. And then the most recent time was in 2.8, I believe. I spent like $30 on Lunite so I could get Prolova's weapon after I got fro early from the Game Award shit. Oh, he can be used as a sub DPS even at E6, Hiroko. His E6 also increases his buffing. So the E6 makes it so that you no longer need an other erudition for him to give the entire team 50% damage bonus. So he just automatically activates both traces. So this Inoxa gives 12%. This Inoxa gives 28% defense reduction, 20% res reduction, and 50% damage bonus towards the entire team. Not including his own buffs and own damage. I've spent way too much at this point. Oh, really, Coda? You a whale? Do you think we'll get a second collab in 4.0? I mean, there hasn't been any hints for it, as far as I'm aware, no. It would be cool, though. It would be cool to get another collab announced. But even if they did announce it, it's like, it'd probably be in the next version. Similar to what they did with Fate Collab. I'm free to play Trust. Oh yeah, you're the most free to play friendly player I've ever seen, Uni. Just a few E6 or S6 investments. Easily attainable by free to plays, by the way. Also just got S6 Ameth, but hasn't done the story, so can't even farm the mats for her. But that was also free to play. Yep. I know Inoxa E1 and E2 is shit for himself, but is it decent for Herda after her E2 and E1 Tribi? Maybe. The thing with Herda is, because of Don Hung PT, there's probably a serious argument where E1 and E2 Don Hung PT is better for Herda than getting Inoxa Eidolons. Probably. But Inoxa Eidolons aren't. They're mid, bro. they're kind of mid. I'd argue if you're running a sustain team with Don Hung PT with Herda, it's better to get Don Hung's E1 and E2 before Inoxa's probably. But then again, if you're running Inoxa as a sub DPS for the Herda, what are you doing? Get him out of there. Stop locking him in his chains. He's capable of much more. apparently Arknight's collab. I heard that apparently people ran away with that shit and it actually said high third. So, probably not, especially since there's been no reliable leakers to say anything about it. Should I get E2 Herda? I got S1 Herda and Anoxa's Lycone. Okay, so you want to hear? You want to hear the truth, Phoenix? Should you get E2 Herda? How about a Cyrene Saridra to run Anoxa main DPS? Think about it. Think about it. But in all seriousness, if you want to keep Anoxa as a sub DPS for the Herda, then yes, her E2 is pretty worth it. It makes her like twice as strong. Anon League seal of approval is required. I could say you can definitely believe leaks outside of Anon, so long as the leakers are at least semi-reliable, right? You can put some credit to them. But yes, Anon leaks saying something literally instantly gives it damn near a guaranteed of happening. The guy is just that reliable at this point. True, Randy, true. Yeah, I was talking about it before. When the fake collab was first announced, the character I probably wanted the most from the collab was Gilgamesh. And then when I saw My Day, I low-key came to the realization, I think they made My Day so that they wouldn't sell Gilgamesh on the fake collab. I don't know. Maybe that's like not a real thing. Maybe they will continue doing, the fake collab and eventually add Gilga. But My Day is so similar design-wise, I don't think it's a coincidence. I just don't. I'd still fuck with an actual Gilgamesh at getting added to the game, though. The only thing I want them to kind of do is like, I know it's cope, and they purposely do this because they don't want people obviously getting like, you make a new account, you farm all the polls, you get an E6 of this character, and their banner is still there. Like, I want them to give Gilgamesh at least like 3.x Amphorius DPS level Eidolons. Like, if they do start adding more collab characters, it would make it so much better. Because, like, it's actually kind of sad that getting, like, an E6 Saber or an E6 Archer gets shit on by an E2 Phaenon. Right? Keep in mind, my E6 Anoxa that I always complain about technically is stronger Eidolon investment than these two. Still. Even though his E1 and E2 do fuck all for himself. Where's my 10-foot Berserker King? Well, I got 6k credits instead of a Berserker King here. My Day is the GOAT, though. Like, I'm not gay, but low-key, maybe even high-key, if this guy was real, I might have to switch up, bro. I might have to switch up, okay? That's all I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying. Pause? No pause. No pause. Wait, why's my chat making fun of me, bro? Would you guys consider someone who's cooked their first meal a chef? Think about it. Let it sit. Would you consider someone's first time trying to cut hair a barber? Let that sink in. Not a good one, but yes. Why are we lying, bro? Why are we lying? You lost me at Western Bacon Cheeseburger. I don't know what you're talking about, but that sounds good. Would you call a person not being alive for the first time dead? Uh, nah. Guys, you need to understand. Listen, listen. It's only for my day. Okay? This is the sole exception, right? Maybe two exceptions. Okay, maybe two. But those are the only exceptions. Okay? They are the only exceptions. Why do you like my day? Banned. What do you call a guy punching a kid through a wall a child abuser? What? That shit went left real quick, bro. I prefer Misha. Hey, understandable. If you are free to play but spend 1 grand once, is that an exception? And are you still free to play? Uh, if you don't use the characters you spent $1,000 on, then yes. Think about that. If you don't use the characters that you spent money on, you can technically say you're free to play. Mmm. Mmm. Think about that. Think about that, guys. Think about that. Wait a second, Uni. Aren't you the person that calls yourself free to play but has like 20 S6s? We not letting this one slide, man. We not letting this one slide. Show the chat you're free to play S6s. I'm free to play because I haven't spent money on Woowa today. Is that the excuse here? Is that the excuse? How about yesterday? What kind of mental gymnastics are these? There's no mental gymnastics. Those other times were just exceptions. I see, I see. See, it's the same for me, Uni. It's the same for me. Like, it's just a few exceptions, you know? Alright, chat. I'm gonna get off now. You know, It's a tough world out here. I'm gonna keep daydreaming about the fact that my day isn't real. Hope you all have a great day. Hope you all have a great night.